In Chapter 5, we're looking at polynomials again. So we did a little bit of this right before Christmas. I'm actually going to start with the second page of these notes because I think this is stuff that you're going to find the easiest. So looking at this, we are just simplifying polynomials. So we have, first of all, a couple of vocabulary words. You know what a polynomial is. We talked about that last section. It's either a monomial or a sum of monomials. Remember, you can't have any like fractional exponents or negative exponents or any of that stuff. And you know what like terms are. Those are things you've been doing before. Remember, when you add like terms, that like terms have to have the same kind of variables to the same powers. Okay? You also know what FOIL is. We have all that stuff. We've done it before. So looking down here at these examples, moving right into it. When you're just adding or subtracting polynomials, that's when you're all about just combining like terms. Okay? The tricky ones are the subtraction ones, and I'll tell you why. Because subtraction sign technically distributes through this entire equation and changes all the signs. So I'm going to do that, and I'm actually going to write it here underneath. So that makes that a negative 4x squared. A negative x and a positive 3. Now when I combine like terms, 6x squared minus 4x squared is 2x squared. Negative 3x minus 1x, negative 4x. 2 plus 3 is a plus 5. That's the answer to this equation. So same thing on the next one. Adding is even easier. I'm not going to worry about the parentheses this time. I'm just going to check for like terms. So starting with the y squared term. It doesn't really matter which one you start with. But that's a 7y squared and a negative 4y squared. 7y squared minus 4y squared is 3y squared. Looking at the xy next. 12xy plus 6xy is a plus 18xy. Remember, when you add, the variables stay the same. Finishing this off, a negative 5x squared minus 3x squared, negative 8x squared. Traditionally, we like to have these polynomials in like descending order. When you have different kinds of squared variables, it doesn't really matter. You could write it in any order and it would technically be correct. Same thing on the next one. I'm going to put it in the right order, starting with the biggest exponent. That's a p cubed. So 24p cubed minus 15p cubed is a 9p cubed. P squared is next. So negative 15p squared plus 13p squared is a negative 2p squared. So notice I like to underline these. It just kind of helps me keep organized. And then 3p minus 7p is a negative 4p. So I kind of think you got the hang of that. I guess since this next one's not that long, I'll just finish it. 27x squared minus 14x squared is a 13x squared. Negative 5y squared plus 12y squared is a positive 7y squared. Pretty simple. Multiplication is pretty simple too. So on question number 5, you've again seen questions like this before. You just distribute. The 2x times the 3x squared is a 6x cubed. 2x times a negative 5 is a negative 10x, and that's your solution. Same thing on question 6. 7a times 6, 42a. 7a times negative 2, negative 14a squared. 7a times negative a squared, negative 7a cubed. Again, we probably would prefer that to be in standard form, but that's okay. I'm going to leave my answer like that because that's the way they had it written originally. Question number 7. Question number 7 is still a FOIL question. So I personally, even though you know what FOIL is and you've done it a lot, I personally don't like to consider it foiling, because when you get to a question like number 8, you can't really FOIL. You can't just first, outside, inside, last. You have to do a little bit more. What I really like to think of it is just distributing. So I'm going to distribute the x squared to both of these terms. X squared times x squared is an x to the 4th. X squared times 5, a negative 5, is a negative 5x squared. I'm then going to do the same thing with my negative 2. I'm going to distribute the negative 2 to both terms back here. Negative 2 times x squared, negative 2x squared. Negative 2 times a negative 5 is a positive 10. I can usually combine like terms. Negative 5x squared minus 2x squared is a 7x squared. So that's an x to the 4th minus 7x squared plus 10. All right, same thing on question number 8. I like to, like I said, just distribute twice. X times all of these terms. So that's going to be a 2x cubed minus 3x squared plus x. 1 times all of these. That's a plus 2x squared minus 3x plus 1. Again, combining like terms. 2x cubed has no other like terms, but you have a 3x squared and a 2x squared, so that's a negative x squared. You have a positive x and a negative 3x, that's a negative 2x, and then the plus 1 to finish it.